We're putting you through to a volunteer now. Samaritans, can I help you?
Good morning. My name is Howie.
Howie, we were just speaking. It's David here.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, David. I think what happened, unless you hung up, is that
I did.
exactly. So what was happening was that when I try to speak, I'm having a seizure, and I can't control my muscles. So my hand could be clenching the telephone too hard, and
Sure.
and causing it to hang up or something like that. I don't know, but
No problem. How are you feeling now?
yes, but I have to deal with this computer system that's full of the problem is that the GPs are somehow not sending me to the correct consultants, and the correct consultants are not aware that I'm not being sent to the correct consultant, and this is happening in like multiple dozens of cases. They're not understanding. I think autism can be missed if you're intelligent. That may be what happened when I was younger. It wasn't as pronounced as after I had a brain injury.
Right.
Then I think also that the doctors are unfamiliar with the sequela of coma, malaria coma in particular, because perhaps the malaria coma does something different than other types of coma.
Right.
And also there's a problem between countries because the malaria was in a foreign country, and all they're going to do over there is give you some chloroquine or quinine, should I say, give you some quinine or chloroquine or something to knock out the fever. And if you've been in a coma and ended up with some kind of neurological brain injury, they just say that, oh, you're a mad person. You've done something very bad, and you've been cursed. You've been cursed by God or something like that.
Yeah.
And you should go to the juju man and sacrifice a white goat and drink a whole load of dodgy brown liquid and vomit, and you'll be better. And that's what I was told when I went to Guinea back in 2016. And I don't know why Western, like European.
Harry, the line's fading in and out again.
I do not know why the European. I do not know why the European consultants seem to be unfamiliar with the effects of malaria coma, because when I read medical literature like the International Classification of Diseases from the United Nations, and I think it's called a Diagnostics and Statistica Manual by the Americans in the United States, I can see that my sequela are noted in tropical cases and not in Western medicine cases. And I know that Western medicine has been existing in tropical Caribbean and West African medicine cases, but there doesn't seem to be any useful or recent translation into those two diagnostic manuals that I mentioned. And I guess that it's a way that the GPs, the psychological, psychiatrical, that type of consultants, instead of explaining that I have a muscle control, speech control, neurological brain injury, they just said, oh, I'm paranoid, or I'm schizoid, or I'm deluded. But when you go to a private hospital consultant and you challenge and you say, well, this is not the case, what do you think? They say, no, it's wrong, they've made a mistake. Then the reports just stay there, and there doesn't seem to be a correct way to challenge any of this whatsoever. All they want to do is to create more fake reports. And it's unhelpful, because then instead of the doctor looking at what the medical problem is and what the needs are, they get distracted by these fake reports. Yeah. Fake reports. Is that I don't even know if that's a correct word, because they're genuine reports, but they are based upon what can I say? Incorrect referrals, incorrect medical training, and antiquated. Perhaps I'm talking science fiction here. Maybe 100 years in the future they will have the right medicine, but they're not understanding how a malaria coma affects people. When I keep telling these stupid, moronic, Western, modern medical doctors that it's the result of a coma from a malaria in 1990. I don't know how many times I have to tell these idiots. Am I right to call these people idiots? Because they've got university degrees, and they are there to provide us with our good, high quality and respected medical care. But it's completely wrong, totally wrong. And I don't know how to stop these wrong medical reports. They write their report. Nobody comes back to me and says, "Oh, Mr. Howie, this is what we think. What is your opinion?" Before we publish this, and before they publish that and put it on EMIS and spread out to the entire world, it goes out there. Before I've said, no, this is not why I've come to see you. I did not come to see you because of what you have written there. I've come to see you because of something else. Why have you written that? If you are the wrong consultant to who I've been sent, write back to the doctor before it goes on to EMIS, before it gets spread around the whole planet in your broken, disgusting breach of data privacy computer system. Go back to the GP and say, "Dear GP, you have sent this patient to us, yet we are not trained in the sequela of malaria coma. You need to send your patient to this other consultant." And not one single one of these 200-odd hospital consultants has ever done that. All they want to do is write down their twiddly-wickly insulting words about me. You can't say I'm deluded. I'm not deluded. My children have been raped. I've got all the photographic evidence that prove my children have been raped. My children are being raped because I have a brain injury, and the people in government have taken away my human rights to lodge an appeal against her wrongful deportation. That is not a delusion. These are facts. So don't just dismiss that my children have been raped because of your breach of data privacy. My children have been raped not only because of your breach of data privacy, my children have been raped because of your inadequate medical training and your inadequate referral system and your inadequate breaches of data privacy. That's why my children are being raped.
When were your children raped?
They're being raped all the time. They're being raped as we speak. Why are they being raped as we speak? Because my children are still deported. I don't know where they are. I don't know what's happening to them. And if they were raped at one particular split second in time, 20 years ago, whether it's happening then or it's happening now, it's irrelevant. Because to me, as a person speaking to you on the phone right now, they could equally be being raped at this moment in time because my children are not here at home with their family being cared for. That is why I'm saying when they're being raped, they are being raped all the time, and they're going to be raped into the future until this terrible system created by Parliament and created by the medical establishment is removed. The children will always be raped until that system is corrected and fixed and taken away. We, the patients of Great Britain, should have control over this medical computer. We need control over Parliament to stop all of these bad things happening to us. But we don't. Because when we go to our MP to complain about the terrible laws that they've enacted, instead of helping us, they call security and have us thrown out, and they think it's more important to go and murder people in Gaza. My MP, when I discovered that I didn't legally exist because of the laws created by the MP, my MP had me thrown out of the surgery for having a seizure. And I find out now that my MP is a prominent member of Jews, Labour MP love Israel. We don't love Israel. It's a country billions of miles away from us. It could be on another planet. We need MPs who love the people of Great Britain, not MPs who love foreigners. That is what my MP does. And the MP was the same snob who hated white van drivers. All they were interested in was getting a safe seat and clutching to power by brown-nosing as many rich backhanders as they could possibly find. People who would fund their political party. Never mind. That is my situation. My situation is that I want to be euthanized because of the failed legal and failed medical system that causes children to be violated. Equally, they could equally change the law, and they could equally change the medical medicine, if they bothered to listen to the people. But they don't listen to the people. They want to prance around like a bunch of idiots with their capes and gowns and their university degrees and the massive amount of power that it gives them. They're not interested in us, the people. How many times I have to keep going back to them and telling them that I had a bloody coma. They don't even care. They don't even put it in their letters. It doesn't. If at this point in time was to get those tablets that Moses wrote on, the 10 Commandments, and carve into them how he had a malaria coma in 1990, and it has affected him, his speech and his muscle control. It doesn't matter. Even if I was to get a doctor and put him in a titanium brace, so and glue his eyes in a way so that he would stare at these 10 Commandment tablets that said that I had a brain injury in night coma in 1990. That GP himself would be, or the doctor consultant themselves would be the one who was deluded. They would still ignore it. There's just no way of getting these complete. What word can I get to describe it? I am here, a person with medical symptoms, trying to cope my best. I'm trying to get a guardian. I'm trying to get my guardian trained with level 3 life support. Yet at every turn I am not getting across to the GPs or the consultants the help I need. I can't get it across to them, and they can't communicate with me. There is a barrier. I can't get across this barrier. I've even tried using AI, which writes some very, very good letters. And then they just come back, and when they write a letter back, and I say to the AI, what do you think of this letter? And it just says it's completely wrong. Even the AI can tell that these people are wrong. Because, why? Why is it? Because the resources aren't there. People who, how can I put it? The people who work in the system, they are not being straightforward and honest with the patients. If the resources aren't there, they don't provide you clear medical information and say, you need a guardian with level 3 life support, but the resources aren't there. That is what they should be saying. But they shouldn't be sending me around saying, well, let's try and think up some kind of a fake diagnosis, because there's going to be no diagnostic sheet, because there never is. And they will put him down the wrong pathway so that he will not realize that the resources don't exist until it's too late and the children are raped. The problem is that they're not doing it. All they're doing is pulling the wool over the eyes of the patient. And whether they're doing it through deliberate knowledge, or just doing it as that's what they've always done, and are pretty much unaware of what they're doing wrong, it makes no difference, because I'm still not receiving the care I need.
I can hear it's making you very angry.
I'm not angry in the slightest. I've got a lot more work to do. Let me explain to you the difference between anger and what my situation is. A person who's angry gets angry, and 5 minutes later, they're not angry. No, me is different. I have a permanent brain injury, not a 5 minutes of anger, a permanent brain injury that affects my ability to control my muscles and speak. And I've got to find the right word. And the person who's angry, which is different from me, gets angry, and 5 minutes later thinks, what was I angry about? That's nothing, it's all gone. But the difference with me is that I have a lot of work to do. I have extra work to do all the time, trying to stop these children being raped all the time. That is different from anger. Having to stop children from being raped for decades on end, that is not anger. That is a lot of extra work to do. Do you understand the difference?
I'm not sure that I do, Harry.
No.
I think we've probably come to the end of our conversation. I think.
Well, thank you for speaking with me.
I hope you have got something out of this call, and we are around if you need to call us again.
Yes.
I know.
Goodbye.
Take care.